What is up, guys? JayFerGaming here, and welcome to this video, which is all about F1 2015. In terms of release, I think, based on the information we've been given, it should be coming out in June, even though initially Codemasters said they'd be releasing it at the start of the 2015 season, which is definitely not going to be happening because we've had barely any information. But yeah, in the background is just a random race from F1 2014. And this is the first of probably a three-part video series. This video will be about potential gameplay changes for 2015, and then probably do one about career and multiplayer, which are the two main modes for the F1 game series. In terms of history of F1 gaming, I've owned every single game of the Codemasters series. In my opinion, the best one was 2010, and it's just gone downhill ever since. Also played, I think it was Grand Prix 2 on PC in the early 90s, then F1 2000 and F1 2004 on the PS2, which was a fantastic game. I loved that so much. So I'm going to give my opinions and thoughts about potential new additions and tweaks to the future game of F1 2015. So if you've got any thoughts and opinions, then please leave a comment. We can possibly debate. We'll see how that goes. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It shows your support. And if you haven't already and want to see more 2015 type videos, 2014 career mode videos as well, then please subscribe. So, gameplay video. Right, first of all, the AI, which is of course the main thing for this game in my opinion, the main issue. Well, the AI at the start of a race get a pretty good getaway compared to the driver, and then they absolutely suck for the first lap. They are so slow, it's unbelievable. First corner is just the worst, especially cars on the inside. They just come to a standstill, and the pace on the first lap is so slow. You could start 22nd and end up 7th, for example. It's that easy, it really is. Even for an average race, you could easily make so many positions, even on the legendary AI, which is not good enough. The coding just needs sorting out. On F1 2010, the AI were actually decent. Obviously, they were still quite slow on the first lap, but after that, they were pretty aggressive. You could have some great races with them, and it seems to go worse game by game, and I don't see how that is possible. The AI, in terms of being aggressive, from 2014 and 2013, I don't understand, because 2014 is pretty much copy and paste of 2013, yet the AI have still got worse. In terms of side-by-side moves going into a corner, the AI brakes so early on the inside, and when they're on the outside, they just tend to understeer off the track. You'll see an example in the race in the background near the end of it, which I confirmed with a replay, and yet the car just understeers off the track. It's no good for wheel-to-wheel racing. Sometimes you get a few good battles, but it needs so much improvement. Another racing game I do play is Forza 5 on the Xbox One, and the racing offline is so much better. You can have wheel-to-wheel racing. There is quite a bit of contact, I must admit, but that's really fun for a racing game like that. Obviously F1 isn't really a contact racing game, but yeah, on Forza, the AI just sometimes have random banzai moves up the inside. They make contact with you, which I don't mind too much, because it shows they are racing and they actually seem to have brains. These AI cars are just horrendous. I suppose they could use kind of like a driver feature that's involved in Forza, which it kind of watches how you drive each part of a track, and it translates it into like an online drivatar. Is it drivatar? Something like that. Which your friends on your friends list can race against, so they kind of have the mind of a player, which I think could be a decent feature to include in this game. In terms of the AI, do we want them to race like the real life drivers? Yes, we do, but I don't think Codemasters can code that properly, I'm sorry to say. So maybe if we want to race against the AI, like in similar terms to race, I'm struggling to explain this. Racing the AI as if you're racing real life players, basically. I think that could be implemented in the drivatar feature, and could be a good addition. Right, next would be formation laps and podiums. Formation laps, they're requested all the time, but personally I think after you've watched it or been involved in it like 2 or 3 times, it'd get pretty boring. And most people will just skip it. Maybe the hardcore players like myself would get involved with it more often. If you actually do something, obviously you'd be warming up the tyres, but I don't think temperature's a big deal in this game. It is a little bit to an extent, but warming up the tyres, what else can you do? I don't see many features being added by Codemasters personally, and I think it'd get pretty boring after a couple of goes. So maybe you could add like an option of have it on and off. Same with podiums as well, but I'd rather have podiums in the game. Obviously, if you get on the podium, it's a big deal in F1. You get a trophy, you get a big haul of points, and it's just I can imagine it's a fantastic feeling. In league races, when I'm on the podium, it feels great. And I want to see myself lifting a trophy. It would be fantastic. Listening to the national anthem if I've won the race, that would be absolutely awesome. And I'm sure that's been in game before. F1 2004 comes to mind. I'm sure that was in. I'd have to look that up, but yeah. A few tweets did come out. I think it was from Toro Rosso, from the drivers, about their bodies getting scanned into a game, so that could be potential podiums in the next game. I hope it is, because it'd be a great addition, and I'm sure the models would look great on next gen. Podium, just lifting the trophies, national anthem, I think it'd be fantastic. Formation lap, not so much, but it could be a feature that could be included where you could just turn it on and off. Next point would be failures. In terms of this game, the AI get a few failures once in a while. Usually brake, the power unit blows up, but I don't think they really get too much else. Maybe DRS failure, because in terms of the driver, like us driving, the only failure we really get is DRS failing. Obviously we used to have KERS which fail once in a while, but apart from that you never get engine failure, brake failure, gearbox failure or anything. And I think if you're not driving the car properly, then this should happen. Say if you're just hammering the brake the whole race, you could potentially, there should be a risk of a brake failure. If you're just spamming down the gears, a gearbox failure, but it just doesn't seem to happen. I suppose it's kind of in line with the damage. The FIA, the license holders, or if that's them, then they're really harsh. They just want perfect cars running around a track just in a line, I bet. It's just not on really. The damage system is pretty poor, to say the least. A few end plates fall off once in a while, and then maybe you smash your wing off, but it needs to be a hard impact for that. Does your rear wing come off? I'm sure in past games it's come off once or twice, but I can't remember it recently happening, and that's about it. No side pod damage, no damaged tyres, suspension failures or anything like that. It's really disappointing, and games like Grid that Codemasters have released in the past have had fantastic damage models, and I know they can do it. I have confidence in terms of like the damage model. Codemasters can do that, but they're just restricted, so you can't really blame them too much for that, but hopefully that can be improved for the next game. Penalties is another huge problem with this game. Sometimes you just tap the car like another car and they continue perfectly fine and you get a drive-through penalty. It's just, what's the point? I understand if you take another car out, they spin out, lose positions, that should definitely be a penalty. So the system definitely needs working on. I think it's been improved over the past 2 years, but not by much. Yeah, things like side pod glitches really don't help the penalty system. Corner cutting's also another big problem. Like some tracks, especially I think Australian, like in the background, Singapore, and a couple of others that don't really come to mind at the moment, but some of them are really bad in terms of corner cutting. I've tested it out a few times and you can corner cut so many corners and get away with it. And in terms of like league racing, it's just not good enough because there's no replay feature either, which is essential. I'll talk about that more on the online video, but yeah, it's not good enough whatsoever because you can just easily cut so many corners, and it's unfair really for the drivers like myself that tend to stay to the track limits. I do try my best, obviously once in a while you'll corner cut by accident, but yeah, another thing is like going off the track. At the moment you get slowed down, and I don't like that whatsoever because that can be really unfair, especially for example if you get punted off the track. You can lose like 5 seconds from that. It's not your mistake. The other driver potentially just drives off, doesn't get a penalty. That's where the penalty system is flawed. And it's unfair if you have to slow down. I think you should be able to continue, but get a penalty if you go too quick. Obviously, if you get punted off, then you can rejoin the track, no issues there. But if you outbrake yourself on your own, you should have to slow down to a certain speed, because it's just unfair. And in real life, you get a penalty for it, so it should be implemented into the game. Obviously, the grass and like the gravel should be. It should punish. You should be punished more often for going off the track. At the moment, if you dip a wheel into the grass, you do lose a little bit of grip, but it's not enough. You should lose so much more speed, and that would put people off corner cutting and going off the track more often, I reckon. Another thing would be the engineer. We need the Geordie engineer back from 2010, of course. Being a northerner, of course, I'd say that. But yeah, the engineer, at the moment, he gives decent information. Sometimes he just randomly disappears for no reason. But yeah, he needs some tweaks. It's the same commentary, or like the same lines every single year. And he gives a little bit of detail about the weather. It's okay. You get a little bit of information about the cars around you, but not really that much useful information. You need to know quite a few things. Weather, you could be given like before the race, there's a weather forecast, a radar maybe. That could be a good addition. I think that would be pretty awesome. During the race, yeah, you can't really improve the weather predictions. There might be heavy rain in 5 minutes. That's kind of already in the game, though it's not the best. In terms of cars around you, you get pretty basic information. You need to know like strategies, what tyres they're on, how the fuel's doing. If you can get that information, which you can when you're watching the TV broadcast. So I think the engineer should be able to tell you that information, because at the moment there's the race engineer, but you have to pause the race, which isn't the greatest thing in the world. You should be able to request it during the race. I know it could be a bit fiddly, but you could use the like arrow buttons during the race. Like press one of them, get an option. You could check out cars around you, teammate, rivals. You could select a driver, then select tyres, fuel, pit strategy, and be given that information. I think that would be so useful in like career mode races. I don't know if it could be implemented into multiplayer. I don't think it could really, but mainly for career mode. So I'll go into more detail into that in the career mode video. So that could do with a bit of tweaking. We could do with a lot more information during a race. In terms of race strategies, the AI, they're not too bad. Sometimes you get drivers starting on the primes. They mix it up, prime option up. Yeah, you get what I mean. I wish there'd be more variation, just like in real life. It seems to be pretty much everyone goes for the standard strategy, 2 stops. For example, 2 option stints, 1 prime stint, but just mix it up a little bit. There needs to be more variation, I reckon. Just like in real life, strategy is a key element of F1. It makes it very exciting, in my opinion. I'm a strategic person. I like mixing things up during the race, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, it needs to improve for the next game. And in terms of the safety car, I think there's big issues with the safety car. Obviously, lag's a big issue there, where you get disqualified if you hit the safety car. But strategies, in real life, you pit behind the safety car more times than not. But the AI always seem to stay out. They either stick to their normal strategy or just pit 1 lap after the safety car, which means they lose pretty much a full pit stop, which is stupid because you can just run off into the distance and win it, which is pretty dumb. So yeah, realistically the AI should be pitting behind the safety car, and that needs to be tweaked quite a lot because it can wreck races and it ruins the fun at times because you want to be racing with them. The AI, God. In terms of the safety car, once again, yeah, restarts. I think we should be able to have manual restarts. Obviously get a penalty if you overtake the car ahead or something. But yeah, the driver should be able to control it, I think. Maybe not the whole period behind the safety car, but like say the safety car's coming in, you should get full control for like sector 2 and 3, because at the moment, for example with the AI, the safety car goes in and then the AI just stay behind it until it goes into the pits and off they go. You have no chance of making up a position, but it should be the driver gets to back up the field. Obviously the player can do that, but back up the field and then just bolt when they want to. Just like in real life, that's what it should be like, and that makes safety car restarts so much more exciting and realistic, like it should be. So yeah, they're the main features I've gone through. I think there's a number of other things that could be improved, like manual pit stops, just like in F1 2010, like the speed limiter and going into the box. That's something that definitely should come back into the game. I think most people really want that in the game because it brings more of a variable into it. Obviously the pit limiter line, it's really more realism. I know this game isn't total simulation, it's more, I'd say it's between arcade and simulation. I haven't really played things like iRacing, so I don't have the best experience of simulation games, but more realistic features need to be included. In terms of including things, I don't think new features really need to come into this game. The foundations are there. They just really need to be adapted on and tweaked, because this series I think it's going down the pan really. It started off really promising, really exciting to drive this game. It was really fun, and it's just gone downhill game by game. Like stupid features that get added, like scenario mode, and what was that evaluation lap? A lap round Monza to evaluate what difficulty level that was. That was a feature on the back of the game box. Oh my god, I couldn't believe it when I saw that. That is so dumb. You just do one lap. That is not a mode. That's a cop-out. Codemasters should be disgusted that they added that as a feature on the back of the box. That annoys me so much. But yeah, it's stupid. It's maybe an evaluation mode, yes. I'd say like, I don't know, 5-lap race just to test out how good you are. But yeah, it shouldn't be a main feature. Scenario mode, it's okay. More realistic scenarios should be included. It's far too easy for most races, I must admit. They're just far too easy. You can start last and finish first so easily and just complete them straight away. You'll only play them once. I guarantee you will only play them once because they're that dull. I used it for practicing for the game. That's it. Achievements as well. Yeah, get a bit of gamer score, bit of practice. I'll never play you again because it's pointless. New modes, I don't think the new game needs any new modes. Just the racing needs to be improved really. That's the main thing. Most of the community want fantastic racing, a fun experience. That's what I want as well. And I think Codemasters should really look at the community, because they do a little bit. They respond to tweets and add a few little things, but they don't really listen to the community that much. They need to ask us what we want and then implement it. At the moment, I think it's what Codemasters want to include, what's potentially the easiest thing to include to get some money off us. I don't like saying it, but that's exactly what I think. Codemasters have really gone down in my estimation lately, but I'm really hoping for 2015 that we can learn to trust them again. Because initially, Codemasters, I thought they had lots of potential. The grid game I really enjoyed, but lately the series has just gone downhill, and yeah, F1 2015 has a lot of potential. If they put in the work, if they listen to us, then it could be the best F1 game ever, in my opinion, and I really hope it is. So they're my thoughts and opinions for the following game. In terms of gameplay, hopefully 2015 will be pretty awesome. I'll probably post 1 or 2 more videos for F1 2015 to do with career mode and multiplayer, so look out for them. Subscribe if you haven't already to catch them. Please like the video if you've enjoyed it. It'd make me happy, and it shows you enjoy my videos. So hope to catch you in my next one. Goodbye.